one of the three Ferguson brothers. I'm the oldest. I actually started the little family MMA thing, I guess, back in the day. I think the thing was just, for me, it's like, I had a dream, and I followed it. Yeah.
Well, you've done good with it.
Yeah, well, I wanted to be an MMA fighter when nobody else did, so, I mean, I guess, crazy dream.
Your brother ended up in the UFC for a little bit, right?
Yeah. Did pretty good. Did pretty good compared to most. Did better than most. But I can remember back in the day, watch UFC just like most people. But I was probably 13 or 14. I can remember being like, I wanted to be a boxer. Never really boxed. But when I was a kid, I wanted to be a boxer. And then I saw UFC, and I was like, oh, that's what I want to be.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, MMA fighter. So then there was nowhere to train, in Louisville. So I would like train with my friends, and I would consider myself like a backyard MMA fighter until I was like 18, and then found a gym that did jiu-jitsu and started doing jiu-jitsu. And
you guys have your own jiu-jitsu style, I guess. I mean, they had I guess a train like the Ferguson brothers. Jiu-jitsu is
yeah, more MMA based jiu-jitsu. Like I'd say I like to train quick, because I like to tell people, like, for me, like, jiu-jitsu to me was a means to an end, I guess you would say. I only started training jiu-jitsu because I wanted to be an MMA fighter. I mean, it's not like a lot of people, like, they'll get into jiu-jitsu to train jiu-jitsu and then go to MMA from jiu-jitsu, right?
Right.
And be like, oh, I'm good at jiu-jitsu, so I want to be an MMA fighter, or like same thing like kickboxing. I only started training any martial arts because I wanted to be an MMA fighter. I just happened to stumble into an environment that was good. I got lucky.
Okay.
Like some really good jiu-jitsu guys where it was like, I could have went a different way. I think about that nowadays. I could have met some other people, and I could have been a kickboxer, or I could have been or I could have met like not as good jiu-jitsu people. Kind of got lucky.
Okay.
I met Mike Yanez and people that were also had an MMA connection. So,
how did you and your brothers get into it? That means you guys just started doing it together?
Yeah,
start from the very beginning.
That's pretty much what happened. Like, I had this idea, and I was like, hey, I want to be an MMA fighter. This is what I want to do. I want to go UFC. And I remember being like, I actually wanted to go, if you remember Ken Shamrock. I remember being 16 and being like, hey, if I could get, this is when I didn't even train. Like, I trained in the backyard, like with my friends. But I can remember thinking, like, I want to be in the Lions Den. They had this thing called the Lions Den that you could try out for. I remember thinking, well, if I could get to Las Vegas, I would try out to be in the Lions Den. That's where I'll start. I never did that, but then I found this guy doing jiu-jitsu, and I started doing that, and I did that for a year or so, and then I quit. Or he closed down. This is when I was 18. So then I was training with my friends, working out the house. I really would consider myself like a backyard MMA fighter. Like, I didn't fight fights yet, but I trained. I trained like a normal person. I just didn't have an instructor. I'd hit the bag. I had books. Like, back in the day, like, you used to get the books. And then I started training my brother Josh. And he was probably 14 at the time when this started happening.
How old are you guys? Like, what's your age difference?
I think it's like 7 years. So I was probably, well, he's like 14 and I'm like 20, somewhere around there. Maybe a little bit. So I started training him. And we actually had we built like a boxing ring up in, my dad had this garage. It was like a unfinished top of the garage. We built a boxing ring up there with like rope. We had it, and we used to have people come over and train with us. I can remember a few guys, like this guy Chris Bowman. I don't know if you know him. He's a comedian. Yeah, he's a comedian around. He actually does pretty good. But I can remember him coming over, friends coming over and like training with us. We started that, and then trying to think. So Josh was around 15, 16, and I was like, I was like, look, I'm going to go train kickboxing with, at the time it was the core Louisville, with this guy named Harry Paycraft. I'm going to go train there, and you're going to go train jiu-jitsu. This guy, it was actually Anthony, name of Anthony. They had a little club in Louisville. And I told Josh, I said, hey, you're going to do that, and then you're going to teach me what you learn, and then I'll teach you what you learn when we train together. So we was doing it like that for probably a year or so, where I would train somewhere, I would train kickboxing, you train jiu-jitsu, and then we would like share our knowledge, you know? So then after that, then we met, I started training with Josh and them, and we met Mike Giannis, and like, then we had like a real team going, and like that kind of started, like around that time, MMA popped off. I was at the first MMA fight in Kentucky. I was there. So MMA popped off where actually they had shows. Because before that, you know, it's kind of funny thinking back about it, because I didn't know any MMA but what I watched on TV. And so I remember training and being like, hey, I'm going to fight in the UFC. So I'm training thinking, okay, I got to try to make it to the UFC. And I can remember my dad being like, hey, like, y'all can't do that. Y'all, like, these people have been training their whole life. You know, like, really not being supportive, you know, at first. I mean, I understand why now. He's kind of looking out for it, you know. He's like, these guys are just, you know, like, you got these Brazilians, they've been training their whole life and all this stuff. And I'm thinking, like, and I remember being like, well, let me try. If I lose like 4 or 5 fights in a row, I'll quit. So we were training with Mike Giannis.
What did he want you to do other than fight?
I don't, probably just do good in school at the time, or no, at the time. So just work and just be very. But I think what, in his defense, because like after it started, and we really started fighting and like made it a reality. He's like our number one supporter. You know what I mean?
But at what point did that happen?
Like, I think we sort of went. He realized that we wasn't going to get it.
Okay.
He realized that we wasn't. I think he was like looking out for it.
Right.
Like, hey, this is hard, y'all. You know, like. But then, like, that's kind of how it happened, because I remember thinking. I remember my mentality was I was going to fight in the UFC. So I was training for a couple of years thinking I'm going to fight like people from the UFC or like that level. And then when I actually got to fighting and got to actually signed up, I realized it wasn't that level. You know what I mean? Like my 4th fight, like the guy was like smoking cigarettes. I mean, a couple guys before that were good, but like it was too easy for me at first, because like I was actually training like an athlete, and like, and I didn't realize that people weren't, you know, doing the same and living the life I was living, you know. So that was like that was the very beginning. So Josh actually fought before me. A couple months before me, Josh fought first. Because at the time, I was still thinking, I don't know.
And how old was Isaiah about all this?
Isaiah's, when we started fighting, Isaiah was probably 12. 11 or 12. He's a lot younger. Yeah, Isaiah kind of lucked out in the sense that he never knew anything but like good training partners as far as like the skill, you know. Like I say that about these guys too nowadays. Like when I first started, if I would have walked into a gym and there'd been like 3 black belts and like the facilities that are available now, I would have thought I was in. We didn't have nothing like that. You know, if you had one guy, like when I first started, actually when I was like 18, I think there was like 2 black belts in Kentucky. There might have been 2 black.
How many do you think there are now?
Yeah, I don't even know. 40? There's a lot. You know, I mean, maybe more. That's just a guess, you know. I mean, maybe more than that. Maybe 100. You know what I'm saying? Oh, in all of Kentucky, maybe more than 100. I'm just thinking the Louisville area. But like in all of Kentucky, there was 2 black belts. Like my coach was a purple belt, and he got his brown belt. You know, while I was training him, and his black belt. But like, but then that's part of the reason is I kind of lucked out too, because I could have been somewhere else where they, like a lot of the gyms in Louisville wasn't focused on MMA. Like as far as jiu-jitsu gyms are concerned, a lot of the top jiu-jitsu gyms, they were just focused on jiu-jitsu.
Like the traditional jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, like they were still doing that, yeah. And like that could have happened to me. I'm sure if I would have got there and kind of got indoctrinated and that type of thing, I could have been a guy that just did jiu-jitsu. Probably not. I probably would have quit. Because like I said, when I got in jiu-jitsu, it was only because I knew I had to be good at jiu-jitsu to be a fighter. You know, I happened to fall in love with it, and really that's like I was talented at it. I will say that. I don't want to toot my own horn too much, but like, it was the first thing that, because I play all sports. I played like conventional sports growing up. Like I played football. I never played basketball. You know, I'm too short, but I played baseball, and I would always be just mediocre. You know, good enough. You know, I was never a really good football player. I was never really a good baseball player, even though I played, 4 or 5 years, teams. But when I started jiu-jitsu, I realized I was just...
That was your athletic
I was fucking talented. I was talented. It was not hard for me. It was actually kind of easy for me to get good. You know, that might sound crazy to some people that do jiu-jitsu.
No, I completely feel the same way. Like, I just understood it.
Yeah, exactly. It flowed to me. I mean, it definitely took me a while. I had to develop just like anybody else.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I had to get good.
But even during that development, I understood what I was developing more than...
And I could see my peers, and I could see me passing my peers up pretty fast. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody that had the same experience as me, I was like, I'm just better than this guy. I mean, no. You know, it was always kind of simple for me. Of course, there's levels to this, you know. There's guys out there that make me feel like I don't know any jiu-jitsu at all. But...
Especially nowadays.
Yeah.
The jiu-jitsu game is at all.
Yeah.
So high.
But when I started that... So I say I started it all. Josh fought a couple months before me. My first fight was February, I think, of 2007, I think. But I was on a tear after that. Like, I went pro in 2008. Like, I went 6-1 amateur and was like, okay, I'm going pro. Because there just wasn't enough talent.
At what point in your record did you get that one?
I think like my fourth or fifth fight.
Okay, so you had enough.
I was on a tear. I was beating everybody first round. And I had the confidence too.
Okay, and don't tell me about that first loss then.
Oh, this is a good one. Well, let's see. My first four. Well, let's see. My fourth fight was actually a real hard fight. I won like an amateur title. Really hard fight. My first few fights, I was taking everybody out first round. And I was knocking people out too. Because like I was my gym I trained at was mostly jiu-jitsu guys that were getting into MMA. But I would just go out there and just, like I said, I had already trained a little bit kickboxing. And I trusted my striking, and I would go out there and swing. And I think that would help out because people, they knew where I was from and they expected me to take them down. They thought of my gym as a grappling. They're going to push up against the cage, take you down, tap you out, stop that. And then I would go out there just swinging. You know what I mean? So I got a couple of knockouts, beating everybody real quick. My first loss was a guy named Tom Hayden. He actually fought in the UFC.
Oh.
And he was good. He was real good. And I remember them thinking, people telling me, like, this dude's a different level. Like, I had won the title, and then I had to defend my amateur title against him. And he's from Ohio, and he's a wrestler, and they were like, oh, this guy's a wrestler from Ohio. Traditionally, really good wrestlers, right? You know, even the bad ones are still better than the Kentucky wrestlers. Traditionally. And I remember people being like, dude, this guy's, he's an athlete. He's trained at a good gym. So we go out there in the first round, 3-round fight too. Even though it's a title, it's just scheduled for 3 rounds. The first 30 seconds, he like shoots, I sprawl. cracked him, kneed him in the face. He stands up, his nose is bleeding. In my mind, I can remember thinking, I'm going to beat the shit out of this guy. I'm taking this guy out of this round. After that, he beat the shit out of me for 3 rounds. But I remember in my mind, like, this guy's just like the rest. And then he took me down. I couldn't tap him. You know, he was good. I lost the decision. Getting beat up pretty good, you know? First of all,
he didn't finish it.
He didn't finish me, no. But, like, I was always pretty good at surviving, defending myself, you know? Especially for my guard, but he kept taking me down. But, yeah, that was the first loss. But he was good.
So then at what point do you guys actually make a move towards the UFC?
Well, when we did that, we've been training for a while, and, you know, I went pro, stacked up a few wins, because I remember thinking, like, I'm going to have a lot of wins to get in, so, but I compare it to, like making it to the UFC or, like, a big organization. Kind of like the music industry, I would say. It's closer to the music industry. Talent isn't enough. Like, you kind of got to get lucky and have to be exposed. Like, if you can beat everybody, right? If you can beat everybody in the world, of course you're going to make it. But that's actually really hard to do, you know what I mean? So what we did is, so we're stacking up some good wins, you know, in the pros, and then we go to, they had the Ultimate Fighter TV show. So first we go to...
Is this the first season? It's like what season?
No, this is probably like 12, 11. Yeah. Because it'd been going on for a while, but they were doing it fast. And we go to Charlotte, North Carolina. They're having it, but it's 155 pounds. And at the time, I'm fighting at 145, and I'm pretty small. I probably should be fighting at 135. Josh, he's fighting at like 125 pounds. But we both we drive down to Charlotte, North Carolina, and then they're getting us ready for, like when you go to Ultimate Fighter tryouts, to at least what it used to be, is you'll get with the group, and then you just randomly grapple a guy. Like, they'll just be like, you and you. And they might let you grapple for a minute. They might let you grapple for 3 minutes, okay? There's no set rules. They'll just stop it. Like, you got 3 guys back there. You got Dana White, when we did it. Yeah, Dana White and like 2 other of the matchmakers. So they'll stop, and they'll say, you're through, okay? So when we got through, really, it was mostly Josh. It was the reason that we kind of stood out, because when they got ready to draw the names for the grappling, I draw the guy. I can't remember his name, but he trained at AKA. Super huge guy. He was 190 pounds at the time. This is for the 55 audition. And I grappled him, and he couldn't tap me, but I didn't do very well. But then Josh went with, he went with this guy from Clay Guida's gym. That was real good. Dude looked like he had a bald head, real muscular. I mean, he looked the part, right? And I remember thinking, I remember being like, that kind of sucks for Josh too. He took a bad draw too. So then Josh goes out there and taps the guy out like 3 times. Like, taps him out quick as shit. You know? So Josh gets through. So how it goes, if you get through the grappling, you go to the striking point. Okay? And then they like hold Mick for you and watch you strike. And then if you make it through, then you go to the interview. So this is Charlotte. I don't make it through. Josh makes it through. He gets all the way to the interview, and they tell him, hey, you're too little, dude. You're too small. Like, you're 125 pounds. This is a 155 pound show. We can't put you on the show. Okay? So we go back home. Then we go, they have another one, but it's for 45 and 35. This is a year or so later. So we go, and we made it to there. They recognized it. They recognized us. They were like, oh, that's the guy that did at 55. So we both roll. We both do really good. Then we go on to the striking, and we kind of got lucky in this too.
So you were trying out already again as well?
Again, yeah. We're both trying out. same weight class, 135, because at the time I dropped down to make 135. And Josh really was a 25er, but they had a 35. They only had 35 and 45 for the show. So I'm like, okay. So he goes we make it to the grappling, we go to the striking part, but the reason we got lucky is I had my mitts with me. And they usually have like their coaches hold. Everybody had coaches. Me and my brother are standing there, and I was like, I can hold for him. And they're like, sure. We held mitts for each other every day. We looked excellent. Like, he might have hit mitts for 20 seconds. And they were like, you're good. So then he holds for me. I might have hit mitts for 30 seconds, but it was the same shit we do every day, you know? So then we went on to the interviews. And then a couple months later, they just called and said, hey, y'all want to be on the show? And that's that. And then I ended up losing my fight to get in the house against a pretty good guy. And then Josh.
Was that on the show?
Yeah, it's on the show. But like, I'm on the first episode, and that's it.
What did that feel like?
It was fucking shitty. It was nerve-wracking, though, because they get you there, like, when they pick you, get there, and like, they flew us out at first to do all our medical. And they were like, hey, this doesn't mean you're on the show. It was like a whole process. First, they called me and said, hey, we want you to come out here to do your medicals. And I'm like, okay, I'll do that. But they said, this doesn't mean you're on the show. But you had to go do all your drug tests. They checked you out thoroughly, man. I mean, they shook my legs. They give you MRI, all this shit, checking your brain. Because they said what happened was they had a guy with like a torn ACL get on the show, and he knew he had a torn ACL. Then the moment he got on the show, he grabbed his leg and was like, hey, man, just to get a surgery paid for it. You know what I mean? Great idea by that guy, you know? So they were really checking you out. So they check you out, fly you out to Vegas, which was nice. First time I was in Vegas. They flew us out, gave us, $500 per diem for like 2 days, hanging out in Vegas, gave us a room. So then we go out there, hang out, have a good time. Then they send you back home, and then they call you and say, hey, we're going to fly you out, be ready to fight. That's all they tell you. Be ready to make weight and be ready to fight. So we fly out there. You don't know if you're going to be on the show or not.
Like, what kind of heads up? Like, do they call you? Do they give you a camp like 6 weeks before?
Yeah, it was like a month before.
Okay.
They give you enough time to prepare. But they're like, you need to be here, right? So they fly you out. You fly out there, and they say, hey, they just basically were like, hey, make weight. Got to make weight. So we're like cutting weight. But before they do this, they take your cell phone. They put you in your room, your hotel room, and they say, you cannot, can't leave. Can't call nobody, can't leave. They like to keep it like hush-hush, so you don't know who the winners are and all this. You got to sign NDAs and all this shit. You won't talk about none of the fights until the season's in. Because they would film it all, and then you would come home, and then it would air on TV. You know what I mean? It wasn't live, but... So then they did that, and then you weighed in, and then they told you who you were fighting. You had no cell phone. Like, I was fighting a dude named Roland DeLorme.
Oh, so you couldn't even, like, look up your opponent?
I didn't know shit about it. I knew he was from Canada. And, like, the fucked up thing is, like, I came out, he ended up triangling me, but, like, I came out and, like, took him down, like, 3 times. I was so fucking nervous. Like, the nerves really got me that fight. Because it was like I said, I just fucking quit my job that I'd only got because work got slow. I got this factory job. The dude had fucking I went and, all this shit's going on. I'm trying to audition. I get this job. I got a fucking newborn. My kid's like fucking 3 months old, And I'm like chasing my fucking dream. And I remember going to the office of the manager at my job. And I was like, hey, I'm going to leave. I'll be gone for 3 days. Okay? They told us that I could be gone for 3 days. I could be gone for 6 weeks. If I'm gone for 6 weeks, I don't really care. You can fire me because I know I'm going to be on Ultimate Fighter and I'm going to be making money. If I'm gone for 3 days, I would like to have my job back, but I need these days off. dude said, well, you got a choice to make. Basically implying that if I leave, I wouldn't have a job. So I was like, fuck it, I quit now, like I'm going to go chase my dream that I've been working at for, now that was going on like 10 years, you know what I'm saying? But, so we go out there, I end up losing. Josh knocks his guy out like 30 seconds, he gets on. So he made it, and then I had to come back. I did pretty good, though. I never made it back to the UFC, but I did fight in Bellator, fought in XFC. I've had some good fights. I did pretty good.
So tell me about Bellator. Okay, so you lose, you come home.
Yeah.
What
It's depressing, because then my brother's not here and everybody knows I lost. I can't talk about what happened, but they know I didn't make it because I came back.
Wow.
Yeah, 32 guys, 16 got to stay, right? 16, 135, basically.
So then, how did you come back from that to Bellator?
Well, I came back, and actually Bellator came to Louisville. They had a show in Louisville at 4th Street. And they was just looking for fighters, and we're like, hey, I think it was Hard Rock. Just promoting fights, the guy around here. He put my name in and was like, hey, this is a guy that sells tickets. And that was pretty good. See, I feel like I got fucked by them too.
What's that?
Because they gave me I had the one fight, and then I thought I was going to be signed on a contract.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and try to get in a tournament, and then they was like, oh, that was just a one fight deal. But I think, my personal opinion, I think it's because I didn't sell a lot of tickets.
Oh.
And the reason I didn't sell a lot of tickets was Isaiah was fighting the next day for Uncle Nathan. And I say this because I just didn't try to sell a lot of tickets because I was selling like tickets for the other fight. And I figured everybody's going to come to 4th Street to Bellator anyway. Why do I personally have to sell tickets?
Right.
And they did. Everybody came, but I just didn't personally sell the tickets because I couldn't deal with the stress of selling the tickets, trying to train. But I did well. I tapped the guy in the first round, and I remember thinking, like, I'm in now. Because Bellator at the time had the tournaments where they had like seasons. And you fought in a season, and then at the end, if you won like 3 fights in a row, then you would win the season, and then you could fight for the title. I was so fucking excited about getting that win, and then they was like, no, that was just a one fight deal. But the money was good for them. And like I said, at the time, I was trying to fight for a living and like struggling a little bit. So like I was just happy to make the money. You know what I'm saying? And well, fucking, the sport itself, as a career, it's really fucking big. It's not that good. It's not good pay. The work's, you put in long hours, there's no money in it, you're at the top. It's like the music industry. I would compare it to the music industry as anything. It's like, same thing I said earlier about the talent. Like, there's 500 people on the UFC roster. How many people do you think are good enough to fight in the UFC? Like more than 500.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Look at all these other organizations. There's one, like, you can even, I've seen guys that were like 20-2, and they wasn't signed for the UFC because maybe they didn't sell tickets. It's show business, it's part, like I said, it's part sport, but part show business too.
Okay, so then
I was
forward a little bit.
I was never good at that shit.
And now you have your coach for Travis Hudson. You've had him on last episode.
Oh yeah, okay. Cool.
How do you feel? Where are you at with being a coach? How do you feel about Travis?
I like coaching mostly just because I know how hard it is. I try to be like I definitely want to coach, but like I try to be more like a mentor too, and kind of understand that this fucking shit sucks. I try to help these guys out mostly because I feel bad for them. You know what I'm saying? Because it fucking sucks. it sucks to be a fighter. You know, you get the glory, but the lows are low, you know? And you know, getting there and being a coach for me is very nerve-wracking as far as like when the fight is going on. Because you can't do nothing about it. The best way I can explain, it's like being in a race car, but you're in a passenger seat.
Okay, like a rally race.
Yeah, the shit's wild.
The map.
Yeah, you can't control it though. Like you're not controlling shit. You're just sitting back, watching it. You know, so when shit goes bad, there's nothing you can do to change it. Your guy gets rocked. You can see him about to get knocked out. You can't do shit about it, right? But Travis is a good student. He's a hard worker.
He's coming with.
Yeah, he is.
He's climbing up over the ladder.
He is, yeah. And he's just a hard worker. He's a hard worker. He's not going to fucking, because in MMA, to be good, you've got to have a level of self-reliance. You got to be a self-motivated individual. If you're looking for other people to motivate you all the time, it's not going to be a sport for you. You know what I mean? Like, we can't make you get up and go train. And it's not like a football team. You're out there, you're pretty much out there by yourself. You got your team to train with, but they can't help you. When the cage door locks, you're all alone. So, you know, that's one thing about Travis is like, I just know he's gonna put the work on. I don't have to fucking worry, you know, if he's not working hard enough.
Right.
He's talented and he's working hard, and that's all you can do.
Now, knowing where the industry is now in the sense of selling yourself, do you push your fighters to do more of that, or?
I haven't been, but I should.
Okay.
That's a big part of the game. I just never was good at it.
St. Travis is one of the greats. He can beat a lot of ass.
You still gotta sell.
Right.
Gotta sell.
Right.
Yeah. I remember on The Ultimate Fighter, this guy, Louis Galvant was his name. He was on that. He had green hair. And I remember sitting down, we're eating dinner, like before the fight, you know, we're talking. And I remember this guy saying, "Oh man, I got this. My Instagram, look at this. I need to make this content." All this shit. And I remember thinking, like, you're full of shit. This don't matter. You fight and win. That's what you do to be successful at fighting. You just fight and win. And now looking back, he was 100% right. He had like fucking 5 UFC fights. And like, I think he lost 4 of them. He was like 1-4. But like, they kept bringing him back because I think he had a good social media following. He had some fans, you know. He put asses in the seat for show business shit. And then you'll see other guys, just like the guy from Kentucky, like Nate Maness, is an excellent fighter. Maness is excellent. I think he went like 5-2 in the UFC and they released him. I guess because he wasn't selling, you know what I mean? So I would say, first and foremost, you gotta train hard. You gotta put in the work. You gotta be talented. Anymore, talent's gotta meet hard work. In 2005, you know, 2015, 25 is what I meant to say. But like back in the day, I think you could have got away with just being a hard worker. Now you can't. You've got to be talented and a hard worker. And you got to have both. You can't just be talented and not work hard, because there's a guy that's talented that's going to work his ass off. Yeah.
And nowadays, especially.
It's going to get worse, too.
Yeah.
I think in 20 years, MMA will be like kind of like the NFL. I don't mean like the level of sell. I just mean like the level of athlete. Like they're going to be, you know, it's
going to be elite.
Yeah, you're like, oh, like if you can't do it like a 42-inch box jump, or you ain't got a 42-inch vertical, you're not going to make it. We could teach people how to fight. We can't teach the athleticism.
Right.
But yeah, Travis has got a big one coming up. I'm pretty excited about that. Heading out to Houston. Taking on a jiu-jitsu world champion. after the last fight too, he beat a national champion boxer. So he's big game hunting out there. He's taking on the fucking right guys. That really that makes it sweeter.
Said if he ends this one, he told him it's time to start talking shit.
Yeah. Let it rip. I think he's got a good chance. He's got the tools to beat this guy. Travis is no slapped on the ground either.
No.
I mean, definitely in strategy-wise, I don't want him to test it. That wouldn't be the great time to try the guy, right?
Right.
This guy's a world-class jiu-jitsu guy. Let's just follow the game plan, beat him up. We only got to make it a surprise. The game plan is not a surprise. We want to keep it on the feet and beat this motherfucker.
All right. That's pretty aware for it.
And he's pretty. If he wants to try us on the feet, then so be it. Let's go. Because you never know what mentality they might have. He's got a good team and coaches, and he might be thinking, "Hey, I need to get out here and strike too." You never know. Because I always kind of have that mentality too. Like sometimes I would go out and fights and actually strike with a guy I know I could take down and beat, but I would do it just to get real life practice. Because I'm not going to be able to take everybody down, you know what I mean?
How does it feel as a coach? When did you really start taking on coaching? When did that transition?
Pretty soon.
Oh, pretty recently?
No.
Or you took it on pretty soon, early on?
I was doing a lot of coaching back in the day, just because, for the majority, I kind of coached. I was kind of a coach, probably just a couple years after starting. In a sense that I've coached my brothers, and I had a little team, probably back in 2010. I had my own little team for a while, and I did pretty good. But then once we got the UFC, I was like, all right, we can't do both, It was just too much. I don't think you can be a great coach and a great fighter at the same time. Because I just think it takes too much time, takes too much effort to be good at one.
I think it takes two different types of awareness.
And it's the mentality too. And you got to learn how to treat people too. When you're coaching, everybody doesn't, you can't treat everybody the same way is what I'm trying to say. Everybody, it's not going to work for everybody. Some people you got to push a little hard. Some people you got to just be a friend, But I started coaching. I was doing a little bit back in 2009, a little jiu-jitsu. Just because I had left the gym I was at and didn't have any, a real jiu-jitsu coach. I went to a more of a striking gym. So I was helping with the jiu-jitsu there, helping with MMA. Then around 2010, started my own team. So, but at the time too, in 2010 when I had my own team, I really was just training myself and a couple fighters, and then everybody else was like, hey, just do what we do. It wasn't really coaching, I feel like I ran a lot of people off too. In a sense that I went too hard. It wasn't a commercial situation.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I had my first team. It wasn't good. I didn't make any money. I think we were just breaking even at the building we rented. But it was we was just trying to fight. The goal was fighting, not to sell. And I can remember people coming in and training. I remember a guy one time being they go crazy in there. Or telling somebody you don't want to go there. They go too hard. And I remember thinking it's not hard. But at the time, I was training to be a fighter.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I just trained, I didn't really think about how hard it was or if new people could do it or, if you couldn't do it, go sit down. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing until this, 2-hour training's up and then I'm going home just like I do every day, So I've never been all that great at that anyway, selling. like the gym, you know.
Okay. Why is that? What do you
I
mean?
don't know, man. I think I just,
I have a very prominent name and a very solid
I
reputation.
think I'm a good coach. I think I don't know. I don't focus a lot of energy on it too right now. Like the monetary stuff.
You have enough way in the local scene that when you switch gyms, you impact.
Yeah, I think so too. But like my thing is too, I've just never been like, I don't want to sound, I've never been into like the monetary side of the thing. It's not been, I don't find joy in it. I mean, I got a regular job. You know what I'm saying? That I do construction and I like it. It's done pretty well for me. I don't like making money in MMA. I don't think there's a lot of money to be made unless you kind of sell out anyway. As far as like gyms are concerned.
Oh, Travis gets a contract. You have to go with me.
What do you mean?
Like a bigger contract, $30,000 fight.
Go where to fight?
No, like as in his scope. Would you? I mean,
Oh yeah. I want to be loyal to my guys, but what I'm saying is like, I think it's hard to be like there's a few, you know, like a bigger gym that has like bigger programs. I just feel like you either take away from the fighters or I don't think you do both. I don't think you have a big commercial gym and you have good fighters too.
okay.
It just doesn't happen a lot in my opinion. And like I said, I like it better that way for me. The money's not connected to my muscle art.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I only coach because I want to see people succeed. I just want to see people win. And I don't even care if it's with me or without me. You know, if you're my guy and you're my fighter and we got this relationship, I just want to see you win. You know, I don't care. If Travis can go somewhere else and train somewhere and like get better at training than I can provide, go ahead, man. I'm not gonna be mad.
No, I'm more so saying like keep working with big. That's typically how it goes. It's, you know,
Oh no, man, no. I want to get my cut for my work.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna deny my cut for my work. I just mean as far as like building a gym that's like commercially successful for me. I don't like to make money off of it like that, or at least I haven't. You know, I'm not saying if I didn't start a gym and like started making money, I could, but I never really put my mind into it. You know, it's kind of been a labor of love for me. You know, it sounds silly, I know, but like I've kind of got comfortable with that. Like I said, I like to make my money other places. I don't need to make my money training fighters. Now, if I got a couple of fighters making UFC money, making big paydays, I would like to get my 5-10%, you know? I would like to be, but I'm not trying to get rich off of it,
right.
for sure.
And motivate.
No, it's not motivation factor. And I think it's the same way with a fighter. Like a fighter like Travis right now, if your motivation is money,
Yeah.
you could do something else, but something else. I mean, now do you want to get the money because the money is going to allow you to do what you love? You know what I mean? The money can, like, that would be a good dream. To be able to, like, you know, if you're like a Travis guy and you're coming up and you want to, like, to start making the type of money where you can really just train full time and make a good lick off of it. Because you got to get in and get it, you know, like just like these guys in the UFC, like it's the window's short.
Yeah.
The window's short. Everybody's going to get too old. Everybody's going to get too old to compete at the level at least to be able to make money. You know what I mean?
Who, saying the local talent, who would you say is a leading prospect at the moment?
Around here, let's see. I don't want to leave anybody out. I think,
Blake's looking good.
yeah, Blake Calvin, yeah, good. Todd,
I think it's looking real good.
and this guy training with Anthony McCormick, he's undefeated right now. He's looking good. He's one of them guys like Travis, where like you ain't got to worry about him. You got to worry about him overworking and not underworking. You know what I mean? You got them guys. We got a couple guys. Little guy Tyler Stout, 25er, because of course the Turion Cook, he's coming back fighting again. I think the 25ers is a little different. There's less of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, I think there's a pretty good opportunity it's kind of like a heavyweight. There's a good opportunity to make yourself kind of.
It's an empty shoes to fill.
Yeah, for sure. But like, I really thought around here would be bigger than it is now. I really think we got to really step it up and get after it a little bit.
I mean, we've got records in UFC came.
No, I just mean like when me and Josh, when me and Josh were like really, like this has been like, when I was really going after it, man, it was like 2013, 2014, 2000. You know what I'm saying? I remember if you would have asked me in 10 years how many people from Louisville are going to be at UFC, I would have said like 4 or 5. It's zero.
Oh, really?
It's zero. You know what I'm saying? I would have thought it was going to be a lot bigger than it is. As far as like guys, but it's like, there's a couple guys that are really like Lance Lawrence did pretty good. He made a good run. Probably got another run in him. But a lot of guys, the talent, you gotta, they gotta keep doing it. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta be talented and you gotta work your fucking ass off for like 10 fucking years. That's just how it is. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people, I think they fall off the motivation. It's a hard thing to stay motivated. Hey, I mean, that was what happened to me. I'm old, of course, but like, I didn't quit MMA because I got old. Or as far as fighting, I quit MMA because I realized the avenue for me I really wasn't going to have a good avenue to make a lot of money. I was good, but I was not elite.
Right.
I was kind of too late to be elite, and just wasn't, I wasn't like I said, I never was an athlete my whole life. I turned myself into an athlete in training like I did. But like, so you gotta be an athlete. You gotta put a lot of work in, and then you gotta get lucky. That's it, babe. You know what I mean?
That's a lot of things.
Yeah. But I think we're definitely getting a lot better around here. The level is getting better. I think we'll be, by 2030, maybe it'll be what I thought we would be. Yeah.
And the Z is slower. But I feel like Kentucky, and then all over the country, a lot of things are slow moving here when it's
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. Like, I think to this day, I think the only guy to ever from the Louisville area to make an EST. I can't think of another guy. There's been
how long was his mom?
Just a year or so. He really had a fucking, he really got fucked, honestly. Well, his first fight was Chris Cosio. first official UFC fight. And that dude was ranked like number 4 at 135. His first fight at 25. And Josh fought him and lost the decision. It was the guy's first fight at 25. And it was when UFC just started the 25ers. They just started 25ers. And I'm like, kind of, yeah. And after that, well, no, his first fight was Roland DeLoy, the guy that I lost to.
Oh,
That was
really?
his first official UFC fight at 135. And then I was like, and at the time, Josh just wasn't competitive. He just really wasn't. Like, I just think he wasn't living like he should be, you know? I'm not gonna go too much more into that, but like,
Right.
he wasn't 100%. We'll go ahead and say that. So he ends up losing that fight. Okay. Then his next fight they gave him was at Chris Garcia, 125. This dude was like, I was like, damn, it was basically a feat. It was a feat. Chris Garcia was like 30 years old at the time. Been fighting, you know, out of AKA, been fighting world-class people. Was a WEC veteran. Josh fought a good fight and lost the decision. At the time, Josh had been training in Albuquerque. And Josh was more, what I would call the real Josh. The potential that he could be. I don't think he was what he could have been, but he was training with the right people, doing the right things, you know, following professional. And he ended up losing that by decision. I thought for sure, like, we're going to get another fight. Nope. Hey, Leitsky. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was our management we had at the time.
Well, how does that work when it comes to fighters? Like, that's something you don't really hear a whole lot about is management.
Well, we always managed ourselves, and then I haven't had good experience with it. I don't. When I did have a manager, they just wasn't. I don't think they were doing shit. Maybe it could be an individual basis, you know. I don't think they was really doing anything. I couldn't have done myself, you know. But of course, I was focused on fighting. I wanted to find a way to focus on fighting, and not have to worry about the dumb shit, right? What I say by dumb shit is all the other shit that I hated, you know?
Right.
The fucking social media, the calling these people, the selling tickets. I hated that shit. I just wanted to train and get ready to fight, you know what I mean? But, yeah, I would say you don't, what? I don't know. I kind of think you don't need a manager, in my opinion. But I can see what, at the highest levels, where it would be good.
Okay.
You know, like kind of like the NBA.
Yeah.
Like if you're already in the UFC and you're pretty established, I can see where you wouldn't really need a manager because you're going to get your contracts, right? But I can see at the highest level where the guys that are at the top that have managers. And that might just be to sit down and negotiate a good deal and crunch some numbers. It'd be like salesmen, you know, but like, look, this guy sells this. He puts the asses in the seats. You want him, you know what I mean? But in my own personal opinion, it's fucking big. Kind of had my dad as my manager for a long time. He would like sell the tickets to communicate with the promoters.
That's cool.
Yeah, I like that. And then, like I said, I'd be, you know, especially when it's coming down. I like Travis is right now. You get to like last week and you're cutting weight and you're worried about everything else, and you go ahead and add a family into that shit. Add kids and the regular stress from regular life. It gets real hard.
Cutting weight is rough. I don't think a lot of people understand how intense the cutting weight process
And you're
is
kind of
for-
forced into it. You're forced into it too. Is everybody else?
Yeah.
I remember people being like, why don't you just not cut weight if you don't want to cut weight? It's like, because I don't want the dude to weigh 20 pounds more than me on fight night. That really matters.
Yeah.
I've had that happen to me. My last couple of fights at 45, I can remember being like 52. And being like making 45, you know? And being like, dude, this dude's like 160 pounds. You know, 165 pounds, you know? Oh, he felt 20 pounds.
I've seen Travis weigh in at 55 and walk in at mid-70s, high 70s.
Yeah, I've done it myself. Yeah. Oh, one time I did. I think I did. I know I was 20 pounds more one time. At 35, made 35 of that. Was up in the 50s, 53. You know, your body holds on to that water. Once you like.
That is
Not a bitch anymore. No, it ain't that. I'm kind of more of a bitch in my older age.
the older I get, the worse it.
What the fuck's up with that? That's
I
the
don't know, man.
mentality.
Well, it's not just that. I think it's mentality, dude, because I'm like that about a lot. I mean, I get too hot and I'm fucking whiny about it. I get too cold and I'm whiny. You know, like, I think we just get more comfortable as we're older and we enjoy.
There you go. Why do I need to go through this pain?
Yeah.
Why
Everything's unnecessary.
Yeah.